Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. I am joined by Sammy and Kayla today.
Hello.
Hello.
And you are Dan, if you did not know.
We're doing another First Contact, and of course, because we don't know what we're doing, we're already breaking the concept. Again.
Once again.
Today, we're doing a double whammy of Onewe and Oneus, because we love both groups, and they debuted together, and they're brother groups, literally, so we figured it'd be best.
It just seems so appropriate.
Appropriate, indeed. You can't separate them.
No, you can't.
So, for those of you that don't know, they are under RBW, who also have some bigger groups, such as Mamamoo. I think we'll just hop right into the members of our two groups. So, Kayla, why don't you talk about Oneus?
So, Oneus is a 6-member group. A lot of them I personally know before they even debuted in Oneus because they did like a bunch of survival shows. So, there's Raven, and Raven was in Mix 9. He ranked 27th. And was also in the Urban Boys dance group with Kino of Pentagon and Byungkwan of Ace. So that's another fun fact for him.
That's also boys spelled with a Z.
With the Urban Boys with a Z, because that's just how it has to be spelled. Soho was also in Mix 9, where he ranked 17th, and produced 101 Season 2, where he ranked 94th.
That's sad.
Really sad.
That's so sad.
That's so sad.
He made it, though.
Lito was also on Mix 9, but he did not pass the first audition of Mix 9, which is also really sad.
Very sad.
Because they literally accepted anyone and everyone, so...
Mix 9 had like freaking 200 people plus on it. It was ridiculous.
There's so many people on that show.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about that.
We talk about that. That show keeps coming up so often.
It does, because so many people were on that stupid show. Like, so many people. That every time you talk about a newly debuted group, the chances they were on like one or more survival show is like really high.
Guys, remember when K-pop used to have like a new group would just be new trainees you'd never seen before and you'd learn about them as life went on? Yeah. Now a newly debuted group you have to go through 8 hours of history and content to learn about.
Yep.
It's exhausting.
Yep. That's how you get the fans early on these days, apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
Safer to go with previous people.
Oh, yeah. There's Gunny, and he was on Produce Season 2, and he ranked 33rd. And then Hwanwoong, who was on Produce 101 Season 2, who ranked 42nd. And then Xian, who was not on any survival shows.
Who he is
good for him.
Yay for him.
I'm proud.
And also, we also have a long history with Oneus because we talked about them for weeks on end because they were on Road to Kingdom.
Oh, yes. Yep. Xian's twin is also in Onewe, hence the actual brother group.
Yeah, hence they're like brother groups in concept and in reality.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Twins by like 2 minutes.
Yay!
And Sammy, why don't you tell us the artists of Onewe?
The artists formerly known as Onewe.
Yes.
They are a band. Yay, bands. We love bands on this podcast.
Yep.
Love bands. So, Younghoon is their main vocalist, and he was on the unit, and he ranked 59th. Haerin is a drummer, and he was also on the unit, and he ranked 54th. Kangkyun is their guitarist, and he ranked 61st on the unit. Dongmyeon is Xian's twin. He is the keyboardist / guitarist because, yes, for guitar. And he was on Produce 101 Season 2 where he was 68th. And he was 16th on the unit. And Sia plays bass and he ranked 60th on the unit.
So they were all on the unit.
So they all went to the unit. And the thing with Onewe is that they also were a band before they were even on RBW. So they were a band called Mass.
Yes.
They were a band before, they did that, then moved to RBW, all went on the unit, then all re-debuted as Onewe. So they're also a long history, but that's kind of just how bands work. A band is always older than you think they are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so their debut was interesting because they kind of did. What do you call it? It was like a reality show, but not really, because they already were gonna debut, but it was kind of like
It was just a
Pre-debut.
pre-debut show. It wasn't a survival show. It was just like a pre-debut
Yeah.
show.
So yeah, it's just a reality show where they just show about what they did and leading up to
A
it.
lot of
and,
groups will have that where it's not a survival
Yeah, a lot
show.
of
It's just
groups.
like a pre-debut
17 had that. A bunch
preparation
of them
type stuff.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, and they already were going to be two groups that was planned, so they knew it. But yeah, and they
did a song together called "Last Song," which is really cute and really
it's
good.
very cute. But now this is where we're going to split them up and talk about each group sort of on their own. So first we'll go through Oneus, not because they're my favorite of the two, but because
Not because they're Dan's favorite
Dan's
current
favorite
boy
boy
group at all.
no nonsense. But because they're interesting, and I think
Because they're first alphabetically. That's why
There
we're
you
doing
go.
it this way,
Yeah.
right?
I needed an excuse. There we go. You saved me. Okay. Now I can say it with my piece on mind. So their debut song officially as a unit was Valkyrie, and their most recent comeback is To Be or Not to Be, which was literally just last week, so pretty recent for them. And we'd like to mention a few of their title tracks and B-sides, just so if you're interested in learning more about them, these are some of the good points to go through. So I have a few that I like to mention. Again, these are very young groups still, so they don't have too much of a discography. So when we say title tracks, you could really pretty much say all of them because there's
All
like
of them.
5 of them. So the 3 prominent ones that I like to point out are their most famous track of Lit, which if you've heard anything of Oneus, you may have heard that song. And then we love their debut, which was probably one of it is my favorite K-pop boy group song, honestly, and one of the best debuts that I've heard, Valkyrie. And then I really am enjoying their most recent comeback of To Be or Not to Be. Those are some of the great title tracks.
I mean, you might as well at this point also check out Twilight and a song
written
this
easily.
song
easily.
written easily. Or easily
Yeah,
written.
but a title not easily remembered.
One of them. It's one of those two. Continuing the trend of not knowing the actual title of that song.
Yes.
It's a very good song. It's one of my favorite songs from Oneus. So, the
Great.
title is so confusing.
And again, if you listen to anything from our Road to Kingdom series, Come Back Home, probably I think the favorite of that solos or their track that they had to make themselves. So that's also great. And they just made a music video for that as well. Some of my personal favorite B-sides, you can mention any that you know, but Bing Bing is one to look for, Plastic Flower,
Plastic
Zigzag.
Flower is my favorite.
Yeah, and then Zigzag is probably my favorite, and then Eye Contact. But yes, they're a short discography, so listening to that, it doesn't take too long. And Eye Contact is really fun too.
I also really like Red Thread.
Red Thread
That's
is
another
good
good
too.
one.
I like English Girl a lot. I know a lot of people hate that.
Oh,
That's
English Girl's really
English
fun.
Girl
I
is
love it.
adorable.
Oh, I love English
I also
Girl.
really like Dizzy off of their newest album.
New album?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think off their newest album, I also really liked Airplane.
Airplane
was
is good
I like
too
all the
as well.
B-sides on that album. So
Yeah. I think Oneus has really strong B-sides.
Mhm.
They're like
On par.
like
Yeah.
on par with the title track.
They also have a couple Japanese releases that aren't awful, so that's also something.
Hey, that's
nice
as much
about
as you
it.
can ask for in K-pop.
Honestly.
Yeah,
Japanese
pretty
releases are
much.
not awful.
that are not awful, and they're not just like the Korean song in Japanese.
Exactly.
That too.
There's a few
Which,
of them,
again,
yes,
is just-
but that's
it's-
normal. But they also had some good, unique tracks as well.
Yep. And for a new group to actually have original Japanese songs,
Good.
that's a plus.
That is indeed a plus. All right, and then we can talk a little bit about Onewe. Sammy, why don't you take this?
So Onewe's actual debut in this incarnation was Reminisce About All. Their newest comeback was End of Spring, which we talked about in quarter 2, and I really loved. And then
Yes.
their other title tracks are Ring in My Ears, Regulus, Q, which Q actually had Hwasa in it, which I think is a lot of where most people have heard of this band. It's because Hwasa was in one of their title tracks. And then some of my favorite B-sides are Crazy Good, Feeling Good, 0 and 4, and Love Me. Most of which are from their newest album, which is a massive thing and very, very large.
The actual physical album.
The actual physical album is very large. It's very big.
It's so big.
Yeah. For Onewe, it's a band, so I think the selling point for bands a lot is like being able to see it. So I like a lot of their title tracks with music videos the most because it's just the best way to listen to a band is to also watch it.
Mm-hmm. I do honestly really love their entire discography because it just, the thing with bands for me that I really love is that there's never too much of a massive difference between their title tracks and their B-sides because it's the same people. They're not like there's not a dance element to it. They're just consistently doing what they do, and while the title track can have a little bit more energy or oomph to it, the B-sides don't fall too far behind with that.
Right. Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And this is sort of where we transcend to like some of the fun facts or anything famous to talk about. I've got a couple just off the top of my head that I wanted to mention. Just interesting, but specifically for Sia and Raven, they're both producers, and Sia has produced a couple of Oneus's actual tracks, B-sides specifically, but that's still a cool fact. In their most recent album, Dizzy, was helped produced by Sia, so that's kind of cool. And along with their first album, Crazy and Crazy.
That was produced by Sia.
Produced by Sia. And then Raven produces a lot of the tracks as well for them, which is cool, because I like having members actually be useful and have a point to, actually what kind of music they want to make. So that's fun. Besides the obvious fact,
Oneus, all of Oneus is in the Onewe End of Spring music video.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a real fun Easter egg.
Yeah, that's fun.
Because there's just so many people in that video. If you're not looking for it, you can't tell.
Right. And there's the obvious fact of they're twins. That's cool.
Twins. Yep.
Twins.
I mean, there's not many brother sister. I think the biggest one I can think
Akmu.
Of is
Akmu, brother and sister.
Boyfriend
had the twins.
I think of Eyes One and Itzy.
Eyes One and Itzy.
There's Crystal and Jessica.
There's Zico and his brother that was in Speed.
Was in Speed, yeah.
So
and
another one
there's
of those.
Probably more that we're forgetting.
There's more.
Right.
There's definitely more, but I just couldn't tell them.
Oh,
Sungil and Dale.
That one. How did we forget that?
Yeah. Another mention about Oneus, since I wanted to talk about their fandom name and their fandom colors, because I think they're interesting.
They're real interesting.
For being...
they really are.
Well, the fandom name is Two Moon, so if you're a fan of Oneus, I guess you're a Two Moon, which is not great.
Which is a choice.
It's not great. But
no.
What the worst is their fandom colors, because it's not a color. I don't know what to say. First off, it's just a list of numbers, because I guess it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. I don't know.
The colors are Earth, Moon, and white glittering space.
Yes.
What the color of Earth is, Dan will now tell you.
Pantone 7691C and Pantone 7724C.
And the color of Moon is Pantone B10-1C.
Yes. Stupid.
That's the color of the moon, guys.
Where's my, red and blue? Come on, guys. Or blue, green, and white. But no, it's
I love it.
Whatever that is.
I love white glittering space.
And it is. It's just white with, speckled... They had an official announcement.
It's white glitter.
It's glitter. It's white glitter. It's so bad. Don't ever do
Groups have to get so creative with the fandom colors these days because, all the colors are taken.
All the colors have been taken. At some point, you just have to just sort of, makeups, and then also fandoms will get mad if you take the same color
Yeah,
someone else had.
it's-
So you gotta get real specific with the Pantone numbers, where it's
Yep,
a
you have
different
to be
shade of blue.
Specific,
shade
It's
of
not
blue.
the
number
same
codes
shade.
for the colors.
Exactly.
It's
So
not
it's a
okay.
different shade. It's not just. It's not navy blue. No. It's Pantone 7691.
Yeah.
Yours is Pantone 7697. Different colors.
Different color.
Different.
You can't get mad at me.
You
Yeah,
cannot get mad.
It's not great. Don't ever do that. I'm sorry. It's. Ugh.
I approve. I like it.
I mean, it's funny. I like. Seeing
I love
that.
how stupid it is.
Yeah.
I think there should be more. I want this, like, the more ridiculous.
More
because fandom
hex
colors
codes and
don't.
stuff.
Yeah,
'cause fandom
SF9's
colors
fandom
don't
color
mean anything.
is not a color. Their color is
No, it
Fantasia hologram.
Oh yeah.
That's,
Bad.
yeah, well, I mean, we saw, like, you see what happens when they just name a color,
Mhm.
Right.
and then everyone gets mad.
Yes.
How dare you?
How
I
dare
mean,
you
Onewe
take
doesn't have
color.
fandom colors
Mhm.
because they're a band, and
'Cause
but they're
that's- Yeah.
because they're a band, and but their fandom name is Weevee.
It's cute. I like it.
I like it.
Cute.
I like it more
I
than Two
approve.
Moon.
I like it more
Two
than
Moon's
Two
weird.
Moon as well. I think it's all playing on their logo. That's one thing that I do like about Oneus is that they're kind of have like a shifting logo because it's a moon that's like at different, you know, arcs,
Different stages
stages of the moon, which is cool. Like if you like I own the albums and it's just like it shifts over, so it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool theme. I don't mind. But
I
yeah,
also one thing I will give Oneus is, like, I've enjoyed the evolution of Oneus, especially seeing all their Road to Kingdom stuff.
Yep.
And if we're gonna now we now have this void of boy groups doing absolutely insane, excessive music videos that are slightly creepy. And I feel like if Oneus continues to do that, I'm on board with everything, because their music videos have just gotten more intense and
Yes.
like more intricate as time has gone on, and I'm okay
Yes.
with that.
I am okay with it. I'm just not okay with lore.
I
And
know that you
that's
both hate
bad.
lore.
Lore is
I don't mind
banned.
lore is the
I
biggest
hate
army
lore.
here.
I hate
Because
that.
the biggest army here, I've had to learn to like lore.
I
Yeah.
don't
If
like
I didn't
lore.
learn to like
Big Hit
lore,
does
I
it.
would
They're
have.
doing it with TXT as well, and I don't.
I'm the big hit stan here, and I'm at this point. I just have to learn to enjoy the lore.
You must
Sure,
love lore.
lore, just come.
No, lore is too confusing. I don't want to do it. It's not friendly to people that are
Just
just
let
trying
it
to
wash
get into
over you.
groups.
Let it in one ear, out the other ear.
All right. So yeah, those are some fun and silly facts and things of note. There's more, but we can move on to the namesake of the series, which is our first contact, along with the knee slapping moment. So I'll start because I think it's the most interesting. My first contact with Oneus was through Lit, but it was an interesting experience because it was my brother, as always. My brother and I decided to hop into just like a playlist shuffle where I would play a song, he would play a song, I would play a song, he would play a song. So I added a bunch of songs, and then he decided to leave and have one song on his shuffle. So it was my song, then I had to listen to Lit, then my song, then I had to listen to Lit. And it was like that for like 2 hours. So I had to listen to it straight for a lot of times. So the first few times I was like, I am already sick of it. I was typing to him like, Luke, pick more music, please. I'm sick of listening to Lit. But by the 8th time, I was just like, oh, you know what?
I like
It's
this.
not so bad. I actually kind of like it. And that was all I really had with them for the longest time. And it kind of like shuffled out. But yeah, that was my first contact with Oneus. And what about you, Sammy? What was your first contact with Oneus?
My first contact with Oneus was Valkyrie. I had, you hear about K-pop debuts, you know that they're gonna happen. It's like, oh, Mamamoo Company's coming out with a new boy group. Cool. I listened to Valkyrie, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's actually a really good debut song. But it was sort of the subsequent comeback. Because, again, I don't like standing... With exceptions, I don't stand groups from debut. I like them. But then there's no... In K-pop, there's no confirmation that a group will ever even have a second comeback after their debut.
Yep.
So I like to hold off on actually investing myself into this.
Yeah.
before, like, I invest and then, oh yeah, no, they disbanded a week later.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Fair
So,
enough.
like, yeah, it was just sort of one of those K-pop debuts that, like, I enjoyed. I really liked. They're really talented. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good group. But let me hold off.
Yeah. Smart choice.
Kayla?
Yeah, so as the resident survival show expert here, I saw a lot of the members of Oneus on Produce 101 Season 2 and also Mix 9, and I liked a lot of them. Soho's in, like, the legendary, what is it? Love in the Ice performance of Mix 9. That's, like, my favorite performance from a survival
No, that
show.
Love in the Ice performance
Ever?
is amazing,
Yes.
and I
It's
didn't realize
amazing.
that was him.
Yeah, and then Langwoon's in this Produce Season 2 performance with, like, Ju Hakyan of The Boys and Hui Sung from N Flying, which is, like, wild that that's a thing that exists. But I like that
Looking
performance a lot.
Looking at just sort of K-pop survival shows at this point, you're just like, the combinations you see, like, 2 years later.
Oh, yeah.
Going back and rewatching
Wild.
those performances, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe that these people met and
Yeah.
worked together. Like, what is this? After they've all been able to debut in their
Mhm.
respective groups.
I agree,
It's
and I feel
fun.
like it's just gonna keep happening.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
feel
it's
like
gonna get worse
It's-
because
They
we've
make
had
too
like
much
4
money and-
seasons of, because we've had 4 seasons of Produce at this point. We've had all of the unit,
Mix 9 and
all
the
of
unit.
Mix 9,
Boys, like,
like,
Boys 24.
Boys 24.
The 2
Like,
show.
we've had so much.
There's a lot. But anyway,
Idol School, all of that.
Yeah, I had known, like, most of the members of Oneus beforehand. They debuted, like, because of these survival shows, and when I found out they were finally debuting in a group, I decided I was gonna listen to their songs just to see, because I figured they'd probably be pretty good, because I had known all of them were talented beforehand, and I ended up really liking Valkyrie a lot, so that was the first time I saw them, which was, it was
Awesome.
sort of like a first contact happened over, like, a long period of time before they even
Yeah, it
debuted.
was
Yeah,
like-
it was a lot of
Several,
you
like, a year and a
individually
half
met
to
each
2
of them.
years before they debuted.
Right. And then we'll talk about our Oneus knee slapping moment. So I think it hit me the hardest because now they are my favorite boy group, but I think it's weird because it all started with our Q1 review when Sammy chose A Song Written Easily. And so as we were preparing to film that and record it, I was like, well, might as well go back and sort of like make sure I know what songs these are. And I'm like, oh yeah, Song Written Easily, that's the lit guys, right? And so I went back and finally listened, because I'm a K-pop baby and I don't follow things anymore. Not until like as this year probably, where I started really listening to actively pay attention to debuts and stuff. So I went and listened to Valkyrie, and I was like, oh no, this is amazing. Why haven't I not listened to this before? And then as we recorded it, I'm like, I love Song Written Easily too, because it's great. Yep, and so yeah, I basically just fell down the rabbit hole, and it all started. That's it. Oneus is the only other group that I've started now collecting albums for. It's literally twice in Oneus. Mainly because they have a few of them for a decent price, and I found out after they're really good quality. So I am a Oneus / 2 Moon, I guess. So yeah, that was kind of how it all started for me. What about you, Sammy? What was your knee slapping moment?
Lit.
Aha.
It was lit. I'm a sucker for a good, like, not historical, traditional concept, and a well done traditional concept is always just like, I'm always up for that. And so Lit was just like so fun, so cute. Like, all of it just worked so well for me. I love a traditional concept, and this is really when I was like, oh, they're great. Like, I liked Twilight, I liked Valkyrie. Lit was where I really started to, like, really love them. And then A Song Written Easily happened, and I enjoyed that. And then Road to Kingdom happened. And having spent far too much time watching that show, that show was a journey. That whole show was just really fun. Where I learned to more about the members, because I knew vaguely about all of them, and I just hadn't had the time to like check out the members. That's when I started learning about the members, and yeah, I'm just full on and also collecting Oneus albums.
Yay!
But I have more albums than Dan does, so it's just like they're one of many groups I collect.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla?
Yes. So, my niece Slappin moment was probably Valkyrie because, like Dan, I like that song a lot. It's not my favorite K-pop song to exist like it is Dan's, but I do like that song a lot. And then when they followed it up with Twilight, I was just like, yes, this is a good group. They're releasing good music. Like, this is really great. And then, like Sammy, like podcasting Road to Kingdom and that journey, it was really fun following them through that show and seeing all of the performances they would put out because they put out really good performances during that show. And if anything, that just solidified that I like them even more. And Come Back Home was personally my favorite original song to come out of Road to Kingdom too. So
that was the best song out of Road
easily
to
the best one,
honestly.
Yeah. And as unbiased as I am, because you know,
and also how much all of that Road to Kingdom that you watched with us,
yeah,
all those
so
hours,
all of those hours
I watched
invested into Road to
hours
Kingdom.
invested, not just watching full version, just clips out of it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Not just the
Come
one
Back Home
clips
is
out of
great.
Road to Kingdom.
That's
yeah,
what I
not
have
just
to
only
say.
not just only watching the Oneus clips that come out of it.
Nonsense. I watched maybe one other one after that.
It was Oneus and what? Pet
Two.
the Boys. Oh, Oneus
Oh,
and Two.
that's
There
it.
we go.
I'll
I'm
be
surprised
straight
I
up
didn't
honest.
force
It
you
was
to watch
two and
Golden
one.
Child at some point.
I think I was forced.
We
to
made
watch
you
it.
watch Golden Child.
But
We
yeah,
tried to get you to watch all of them, and that didn't work.
It was 2 and 1 us. That's who I followed. But yeah,
Good.
awesome. And then we can probably just switch over to Onewe, and we'll finish off of a collab why we like these groups, how they like them. But my first contact with Onewe was Sammy, as always, because I'm a K-pop baby. I'll say it every time.
And
the
I
only
apparently
way-
like introducing Dan to his favorite groups. Apparently,
Yeah.
it was
Apparently.
this. It was unique.
Lucy,
Our Lord and
Lucy.
Savior Wangy Bo.
Wang Evo, Lucy. Yeah, no, everyone is been suggested to me that I now like through Sammy. But yes, the first one you told me was actually it was Ring on My Ears. That was the first one you showed me, and I was like, oh, band, I like. And I think I remember listening to that before falling down the rabbit hole with Oneus. I think you introduced me to that. And maybe it might have been around the same time, honestly, because it was kind of like a together thing. That's why we're doing these both together. So yeah, that was kind of my first instance of listening to Onewe. How about you? How did you find it? Because you're kind of like the Onewe expert here.
The Onewe expert.
Yes.
The resident Onewe expert.
The resident Onewe expert.
So mine was actually, again, I fell into them through their debut of Reminisce About All, which is a very just chill, mellow song. Like, it's really good. The vocals are really good in it, but it's not like a banger. And then from there, I listened to Ring on My Ears, which is much more of a banger. And then I was just, like, really excited about having more bands, because we
need more.
We love bands. We like the bands. And so, like, I just kept liking that and being more interested in that. And then the knee slapping moment happened, which we'll get to. Kayla?
So I have, like, a vague memory of listening to a song from them back when they were Mass. Because I remember them, like, the band debuting and then listening to some of their stuff, but I just, like, didn't really
look
into
if we're
them that much 'cause it
counting
was
Mass. Look, if we're counting Mass, I do vaguely remember having listened
like,
to a Mass
really
song.
vague memory
But
of
that's
that.
not, like,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily count that because I never internalized that as a group that I should be following. And, like, Onewe is, like, a group that I wanted to follow.
Yeah. But I did listen to Reminisce About All when they re-debuted as Onewe. And that was the
Mass,
first time I heard about
just
them.
looked this up. Mass still has less than 100,000 views per music video.
Yeah, that's
even after
sad.
everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, no
Sad.
one internalized Mass.
And I guarantee that most of those are from after Onewe.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, and then we talk about our knee slapping moment. Again, the quarter reviews do a lot for me, and when we were making our lists and our Spotify playlist of all the songs that came out for that, the biggest and probably the most that we'll hear from them is Q, because of Hwasa. She does a lot to bring in the fans.
Mm-hmm.
But along with that and End of Spring, kind of were the moment where I was like, all right, Sammy, I get it. You don't have to tell me about it every day. I understand why this is a good band and it's a band I should care about. Because I instantly liked Ring on My Ears. And then I'll let you spill the glory of what you're talking about. But I kind of moved on, and then End of Spring came out and Q, and I was like, yes, I get it. But that was kind of it for me. That were the two that I was like, oh yes, I understand how this band is a band I shall add to the list of bands. Because bands. I can say bands some more if it makes it more.
You would like to emphasize that Onewe is a band.
We love to emphasize that fact that they're a band. A band with a guitarist. I want to point out the guitar.
All right, Sammy, take it away.
So my knee slapping moment was Regulus. I adore that song. They don't get it. I don't really get it why I love that song so much, but from the minute I heard that song, it has become one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time. It's my favorite band K-pop song of all time. Everything about that song is like it was made for me to love it, and it's just perfect for me, and I absolutely loved everything about that, and I was just like, it all clicked. Everything clicked together, and I was just like, I love everything about this group. I need to know more. They're now one of my favorite bands. Everything's amazing. The world has just opened up. The skies are clear. The rain is gone. I feel happier. Like, cured all my ailments. I'm not depressed anymore. Everything's amazing. And that's what happened when I listened to Regulus. I adore that song so much.
She talks about it every now and then. Just a few times.
Just a few times.
I love that song so much. If you haven't noticed from the amount of it I put in every video I make, I love that song.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like Kayla or I dislike it.
Yes, it's just not on the level of
It's
Sammy
not
love
on the
for
level
it.
of
For
Unholy
me, it's
Love.
like a god tier K-pop song. For them, it's like an A or a B.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, this has transcended S tier to be like god tier.
Oh dear, yes. And Kayla, how about you? What was that knee slapping moment?
Mine was probably End of Spring. Because, like, Onewe was a group that I would just casually listen to, like, the releases when they come out, but I'd never really, like, cared for a lot of the ones in the past, like stan Onewe or, like, look into them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Since knowing Sammy, I definitely started paying more attention to them just because of the fact that Sammy loves
yes.
them.
I make my love known for things.
And
also,
yes.
like, eventually everything clicks.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they realize how good it is.
Yes, and End of Spring was the first song from Onewe to come out since knowing Sammy, and I did like that song a lot. It's a very good song. I like it a lot, and it definitely makes me more interested in what Onewe will be doing in the future too.
Indeed. Yeah, End of Spring, there's a reason why it made our quarter list. It's just a perfect song for the end of spring and the start of summer. It's a very fun song. It's really hard not to like it. Lucas. But we enjoy it.
Look, there's a reason Lucas is not on this episode, and it's because he does not talk about Onewe.
Yes.
It's probably best that me and Lucas are not talking about Onewe together.
Yes. We'll leave it at that. Put your theory crafting in the comments.
Yep.
Yep.
And lastly, we can talk about why you should stan both Oneus and Onewe.
Stan Oneus and Onewe stan talent. I feel like that's what I say.
That's
every
pretty much
first
a big
contact.
summary. Is stan talent.
Stan talent. That's the whole point of this series.
Yep.
Indeed.
Highlighting
Stan
some of the
talent.
most talented groups in K-pop.
And most
that
often,
don't get the
well,
appreciation.
with the exception of Twice, underappreciated so far.
Oh yeah, underappreciated gems that are Twice.
Yes, underappreciated. No one really listens to Twice but me, so I needed to tell people about that. But no, yeah, Oneus and Onewe definitely still on the rookie side of things. They're still haven't hit that 2 year yet, so they're still growing. With Road to Kingdom for Oneus, definitely going to be a huge boost, and we saw it in their most recent comeback, which was fantastic, by the way. I listened to it a few times. It's totally not making our quarter 3 list. No, Dan's not first picking that before it even was, announced. I had already chosen it. One of the coolest things with Oneus that I really, really enjoy is the rap line also singing. And I think it's really cool. And we've had rappers that can sing, but they rap sing. I don't know how else to say it. They just do it that way. But it took me a long time to really listen and understand their voices and differentiate them, solely because they have a range that not many K-pop groups that I listen to have. With Lido and Raven being able to go high and both really low, specifically Lido, he is really good, and I enjoy him a lot, as he is one of my ultimate boy biases, so he's great. I really enjoy it. Yeah, that's like talent as the biggest selling point for any group you should stan. You should always stan talent. I was going to say also visuals, because that's another huge factor. Have you seen the drummer from Onewe?
I mean, the drummer from Onewe is visuals for days.
I'm just saying. I'm glad he's talented, because either way, he could straight up be a model.
But that face, I swear.
I swear.
I love Heron. Heron is great. He's great drummer, great person, great face.
Great face.
But also, like, I also want to just say, appreciate more K-pop bands. I feel like the only band, like, that's why we keep highlighting more bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only band that I feel like really gets talked about is Day 6, because they're from JYP. So, like,
right.
If you like Day 6, you're probably gonna like more bands. Listen to Onewe.
Yeah.
And
bands
a bunch of other
fun.
ones. Bands are fun.
They're so fun.
different. It's a great time.
This podcast is like no shortage of band talk here.
Oh no, we talk about all of the bands. Half of our Q2 was just everyone just picking bands.
Everyone picked. They all come back at the same time, so we all got to talk about them.
Yeah.
And there'll be more bands to come, because if there's music, we're gonna talk about it.
Late as we do.
Yeah.
We will talk about it eventually.
Eventually. One way or another. And then the final mention, it's a really dumb mention, but RBW. I think that's another good factor, is they do a good job with their groups. If you look at Mamamoo, they really they have a good track record, and they tend to like allow them to do what they want to do. I mean, just look at all of Mamamoo's solos. They're very different, and they're all very themselves, however they approach they want to take. So that's really cool. And I think with allowing, because Sia and Raven both produced a lot, really allowing their artists to just make their own kind of music, it's really cool to see. So I think that does go into a factor of why a group's longevity with if they're allowed to like make what they want to make. So that's a cool factor. I do like that. I've used to be the biggest JYP shill because there's a big group that I like in that. I still are very much so. But I like to add that I feel like I've slowly becoming an RBW stan as well. Just, I don't care. I just sort of like them. Anything else you'd like to talk about why you should stan?
No, I think Dan covered most of it. I just think that, again, We just want to highlight more groups that people can get into, that people can invest their, that like aren't necessarily the biggest groups, but aren't a group that I'm scared is just going to disappear in a week.
Exactly. That is always a fear.
There's always that fear when you go too underground.
Indeed. And then I wrote why not to stan, and that was more of a joke, but I'll say it anyway. Again, Lore's bad. Don't do Lore, please. This last comeback was too much. There was like 3 different like story teasers where it's just talking about the story, and then it combines with Come Back Home and how there's a story with that, and I'm just like, oh no.
Who is the child?
I don't
Who
understand.
is that child?
They're like trapped in a jewel, or so they have to sacrifice them. So I don't.
Are they
understand.
vampires?
I don't know. I don't know, and I don't like it. I just want to watch and listen to good music, but I do like the edgy, creepy concept they're going with. I think that's
again, keep the edgy, creepy concept. I love that.
Just don't make
There's
a
like
continuing
like
story,
Vix is
please.
all in the Vix is all in the military. We're having a whole of creepy concepts. Can Oneus take that position for now? I want it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
No one else
I'm
is
alright.
doing it, so like, might as well.
Hell yeah.
Go for it. It's all yours. But yeah, thanks for listening. We hope that you learned something about a new group, or just confirm the fact that yes, I am gonna stand now. So enjoy Oneus and Onewe. They're both great. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video. We'll be tweeting some hot takes and making fun of each other.
That's
mostly
mainly
me.
what we do at the Twitter is we make fun of each other.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's
There's no
what
other
happens
point.
when you share a Twitter with 4 other people.
Yes. If you haven't already, you can follow that. But as we close, this has been Dan and Sammy and Kayla. We're going to say bye.
Bye.